Now, the largest mass migration in history took place 70 years ago this year. When British rule in India ended, that part of the empire was divided or partitioned into two separate countries, India and Pakistan, along mainly religious lines. 18 million people crossed new borders for what they hoped would be safety within their own religious majority. Towns and villages were torn apart. And turning such momentous events into a film would tax any director. Gurinder Chadha of Bend It Like Beckham fame had the ideal reference material, though her own family's story.
I am to be the last Viceroy of India, and I shall carry out the role with great pride.
300 million Hindus and Sikhs want a united India. 100 million Muslims do not.
It is a story of chaos, bloodshed and heartbreak, and now a story told for the big screen by a film director whose family experienced partition firsthand. It is something Gurinder Chadha's family will never forget. Her uncles were amongst the 14 million people forced to leave their homes when India became independent in 1947. This film, she says, is her family's history.
I had to make a film about what happened in 1947 and how it has affected generations since, and also for my children, you know, who know nothing of what happened. Like so many people, nobody knows about partition. Making Viceroy's house was one of the most emotional experiences of my life. You know, the 14 million people who became refugees overnight at that time, it's their families that carry those memories and live in the shadow of partition.
There's a vast trek by Sikh and Hindu refugees making their way as best they can from areas in Pakistan to the comparative safety of Indian territory.
When India, mainly Hindu, became independent, the country was split by the British, whose rule was ending, to create Pakistan for the Muslim population. But many found themselves on the wrong side of the border. An estimated 1 million people died in violent clashes while making the journey across. Gurinder's Sikh grandmother fled with her family. One daughter died, and 70 years later her sons remain traumatized.
It still haunts me. I can't sleep.
I could say it was the toughest time of my life. I hope nobody goes through that again as a refugee.
Tonight, the family were together to support Gurinder as her film received its UK premiere in the West End. 70 years on, she is telling not just their story, but one that is shared by many who've lived through such a tumultuous period in history. Nina Nanar, News at 10.